Think of it. Every day, a lot of people are being killed as we talk about, as they play games.
This is a do or die moment right now in the war in Ukraine. Trump and Putin both know it, and that's why on this Easter weekend, all eyes are on what Russia and the United States do next. Over 1.2 million Ukrainians are now dead and buried, and Trump wants this finished now. He wants it done now, not next month, right now. This week, Ukraine extended its conscription plans to August, rounding up Ukrainian men, throwing them to the front line so they can die within 2 weeks.
That's their
lifespan, about 2 weeks after they get rounded up like this guy this weekend. Absolutely disgusting, into the meat grinder. I spoke to a young Ukrainian man this week who escaped from Ukraine, and he told me that he believes this is an intentional depopulation agenda of his country, a total destruction of Ukraine by globalists. And he's 100% correct. We've got a couple of stunning developments in this war and what it means for collapsing Europe, NATO, and the neocons trying to push Trump to go to war. So here we go. This weekend, Vladimir Putin just got outplayed at his own game. Marco Rubio, the new Secretary of State under Trump, sent a blunt message to Putin yesterday that basically said, come to the peace table now or we walk away from Ukraine permanently. You're on your own.
If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. No, Marco's right in saying it. We want to see it end.
No deal. You guys fight the war for the next 10 years with Europe, funneling billions of dollars in weapons and soldiers. We are done. That's what Trump told him. And wouldn't you know it, Putin actually blinked. And Putin never blinks. This guy wrestles freaking grizzly bears, for crying out loud. And Trump just got him back to the negotiating table. It's actually pretty remarkable. After months of dragging his feet, after rejecting negotiations and watching his military inch slowly westward, Putin suddenly just announced an Easter ceasefire. Not because he had a change of heart, not because he found religion suddenly, but because Trump just called his bluff and shoved the cards right back in his face.
Think of it. Every day, a lot of people are being killed as we talk about, as they play games. So we're not gonna take that.
I mean, let me be clear. This wasn't just a ceasefire. This was a hitting of the panic button. This was a message to Trump that yes, he is serious about peace. And what better weekend to do it than on this Easter weekend? And he can kind of couch it, oh, it's Easter. No, this was about Trump. And just like that, the dominoes started to fall this weekend, a major breakthrough. The Trump administration admitting that Ukraine has signed the outline of a minerals deal with the United States, which would bring billions of dollars in mineral resources and riches into America. I mean, let that sink in. This isn't about defending democracy anymore, which is what liberals told us. Ukraine is a democracy. We're defending democracy. No, you're not. There's nothing democratic about Ukraine. It's run by a guy who cancels elections, locks up political opponents. This isn't about protecting democracy. It's about wrapping up the war and locking in the spoils. And you know who's not part of the deal? Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky has officially been benched, as Trump told him right to his face in the Oval Office, you have no cards.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. You're people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards.
That's from the President of the United States to a guy who used to be treated like a golden boy in Washington. Not anymore. Because Trump is playing his signature move, the art of the deal. And I know that's been overwrought, and a lot of people throw that around, but it's true. And he's doing it with Russia, not Ukraine. And now here's the kicker. After Rubio's threat, and after Trump's top negotiator, Steve Witkoff, went to Moscow for the first round of peace talks, Putin tried to call his bluff. He waited, he pushed, he sent more troops toward Kharkov. But guess what? It blew up in his face. And now Putin is the one crawling back to the table. According to CNN, Witkoff is heading back to Moscow again, this time to finalize terms of a peace deal. This is real, folks. And even RT is reporting that the United States may formally recognize Crimea as Russian territory. Let me repeat that. The United States of America, under President Trump, may officially recognize Crimea as part of Russia? Cue the mainstream media meltdown and the neocon meltdown. How dare you? Putin invaded and took over that land. But of course, the facts don't lie. Russia already had troops in Crimea. It had for years. They didn't invade anything. They were already there. Crimea has effectively been Russian since 2014. The people there, overwhelmingly ethnic Russians, voted to rejoin Russia. And since then, they've been under constant attack from the U.S.-backed Ukrainian government. This is the part that no one in the press, of course, wants to admit. Since the 2014 coup in Ukraine, orchestrated by the Obama-Biden administration and blessed by Victoria Nuland,
famously passing around the cookies, but it was much, much more than the cookies, I can tell you. And there was a violent overthrow in the third week of February of 2014. That's when this war started. This war didn't even start in 2022. It started in 2014. That was the outbreak of the war, was a violent coup that overthrew a Ukrainian president.
Eastern Ukraine has been turned into a genocidal battlefield. Thousands of civilians killed on a regular basis with U.S. weapons. And over 1.2 million Ukrainians now dead. And for what? NATO expansion? Hunter Biden's seat at Burisma? Trump just said enough. Even Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban even admitted it this week that, quote, the West has lost its proxy war against Russia. The Trump administration is doing what the Biden administration never could, which is forcing peace. So let's go back to that Easter ceasefire Putin just announced. According to Breitbart, Putin's move came out of nowhere, a sudden temporary halt to fighting to coincide with the Orthodox Easter weekend. Sounds nice, right? But don't be fooled by it. This isn't goodwill. This is damage control. Even Zelensky's team is rattled by it. They issued a bizarre kind of rambling response accusing Putin of manipulation because they know what it really is. It's a total power shift. And Trump's team has seized the high ground. The United States is preparing to recognize the Russian-speaking territories as Russian. This is huge. Zelensky's funding is totally dried up. The jig is up. And now Russia is the one asking for talks. So what happens next? Steve Witkoff is flying back to Moscow for round 2 of these negotiations. The goal? To finalize a deal. And that deal will include a ceasefire across all fronts, recognition of Russian territorial claims in Crimea and possibly Donbass, and the end to U.S. military aid to Ukraine, and new U.S.-Russia trade terms for minerals and gas. This is crazy. You can cry about it all you want. You can whine about democracy. But at the end of the day, this is the outcome of the worst foreign policy blunder in modern U.S. history. And Trump is now having to clean up Biden's mess. I mean, let's not forget what the Democrats and neocons told us, right? Putin would never negotiate. Trump is a Russian puppet. Ukraine is winning. Wrong, and dead wrong to the tune of 1.2 million dead Ukrainians. And what's actually happening, Trump gave Putin the deal of a lifetime. Come to the table or lose everything. We're out of here. And Putin said no. And guess what? Now he's coming back with his tail between his legs. And here's the part that nobody's talking about, the real stakes of this negotiation. Because behind the scenes of this peace deal isn't just talk about land, it's about resources. It's about critical minerals, a huge piece of why Steve Witkoff is going back to Moscow. You know, the ones that power our technology, the one that runs our defense systems, our energy independence. And for decades, we've let China totally dominate this space, but that ends right now. So with all of that in mind, I have to tell you what new geopolitical paradigms are starting to arise here, especially in the scope of the one that President Trump is ushering in right now at lightning speed. I'm talking major opportunities come out of them, as clear as day. We have to be quick to see them and to seize them. One of the most worrisome supply chain strangleholds over the West and over the United States in particular is without a doubt China and Russia's near monopoly status on critical minerals. They own it all. This past week, in breaking news in the war of superpowers, China suspended exports of 7 critical rare earth minerals to all countries. Shipments stopped, risking shortages for U.S. defense and technology.
Yesterday, Trump's whole point about China and why we've got to be independent from them was made absolutely crystal clear to be correct. And that is the fact that China just banned all exports of rare earth minerals that China controls.
In March, President Trump said, "We will secure our minerals. China's chokehold ends now," end quote. Then Trump's next move was to sign an executive order on minerals, invoking the Defense Production Act to fast-track U.S. mining, targeting copper, uranium, rare earth minerals. Permits have been expedited, and federal lands have been prioritized for extraction. Trump said, quote, "This is a gold rush for America's future and nobody's stopping us." He's right. And I just want to make this clear. When I'm talking about the opportunities I see with rare earth minerals, I'm talking American businesses right now are going to help solve these issues. They're taking on some of the world's most pressing problems. Let's be clear on this. This is a ground floor bull thesis right now, in my view. Right now, there are zero, as in none, not even one producing an operational tungsten mine on U.S. soil, for example. The Defense Department now funds rare earth projects because tungsten is indispensable for military. And like I said, there are no active mines in the United States as we speak. So imagine the opportunity with being involved with reviving this and then taking the leverage away from Russia and China. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, has said that in the past that smart businesses prepare and America's ready for this fight right now. So Trump is reportedly looking right now at creating a mineral stockpile in the United States, a massive mineral reserve in the U.S. We need it. There are no producing mines of very critical and crucial rare earth metals on U.S. soil right now. Tungsten is 100% imported from other countries. And this particular rare earth metal is used for military applications. And I believe there's never been a better time to hold American-based tungsten stocks. American Tungsten Corporation, here is their U.S. ticker on your screen, could be one of the first tungsten producers on U.S. soil under President Trump. And a leading one, by the way, a full decade of no tungsten mining whatsoever domestically. It's been a disaster. They are the sponsor of today's video, and I believe you must research this as soon as you can. I believe that due to the complete meltdown in risk assets during the past 2 months that we've seen, American Tungsten stock is down 63% right now, which is the reason I'm bringing it to you right now, by the way. Think about the potential here. Zero operational mines on U.S. soil, and China has already made export bans. China achieved control of approximately 70% of global rare earth production and 85 to 95% of the processing capacity, creating a strategic chokehold on global supply chains. So American Tungsten seeks to become the first tungsten producer on U.S. soil under President Trump. And right now, this company is advancing a North American past-producing mine in a region with minimal environmental and regulatory barriers compared to overseas competitors right now. So the company's flagship asset used to be the 5th largest operational tungsten mine in the United States. The U.S. Department of Energy classifies tungsten as a critical mineral, and tungsten has the highest melting point of any metal, making it indispensable for applications that require high heat resistance, durability, and strength. So guys, do your homework on American Tungsten. Again, here's their symbol on your screen. Write it down. They are right now working to secure strategic partnerships with non-dilutive financing with the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Department of Energy. So guys, do your own homework on this company. I'll have them linked up in the description below, and we'll see you next time, everyone.